All right, here is the next installment. After that last go around with the spacer and everything, I finally went and I got another opinion at another practice. And I go in, present myself, show him the information, and he informs me that he is known as Sherlock. He can get to the bottom of the issue, find out what it is. So after a brief examination, he tells me that I have lower back problems. So he makes arrangements, gives me a referral for MRI for the lumbar spine. I go have that done, and I go back with the disc and the report, which shows that I do not have lower back problems. At which time I asked him now what. He says, "We'll go back to see Dr. Mimbim." In other words, the doctor I had seen before, back when. So that was the end of that. Now, I had developed a lesion in the calf of my left leg while all this is going on. And I had presented myself to the emergency room on 5 different occasions. And each time there was nothing. And the last time it shows a blood clot. So they push the panic button, send me to an orthopedic oncologist. They did an aspiration of the area to see what's going on. And initially they were going to remove it. It was about the size of a hot dog, not exaggerating. They were going to remove it, but they ended up draining it, bandaging, and out the door. And I asked him specifically, what's the cause of this? He says, most likely the knee. And I said, well, what are you? No, I'm not going to do anything for you. So that's as far as that goes. We go out the door again. So I've had a couple hospital visits and all sorts of stuff as a result of that. I did go to another facility for a second opinion as far as a follow-up to see whether the guy was exactly right with what he did, and I ended up with the same thing. The orthopedist says, well, I see a rotational problem. The lesion thing that was taken care of, but he says I see a rotational problem, but he doesn't handle that. So he turns me over to another orthopedic surgeon in the practice. I go see him, and it's Nothingsville. So I questioned that, and then they referred me to another orthopedic surgeon in the same practice but further away. And I go and I have that appointment, and I also ended up with zippity doo dahs. The only thing that they did for me at that point, after much persuasion, I ended up with an x-ray showing the structure from the waist to the floor. And that shows some, I would say, complications. And that gave me something to use as a baseline for those. I've had those same x-rays done twice since then, so there's a baseline as pre-surgery, post-surgery, and the condition I am in right now. We have that. So that was the end of that. Then I go and I have another appointment. I'm at another practice. I was referred to by someone else. And he looks at it. He says, well, I can replace the spacer. Sounds familiar. So we go in. But in the meantime, I wanted to have blood work done to see what we have in the way of metals and everything else in the system as a result of the deterioration of the joints. I ordered that. They did the blood draw but they never sent the sample into the laboratory. That's another story. So anyhow, he looks at it and he says, I could replace the spacer. So he sees that there is instability. Now, in a subsequent visit, I go and he is rather evasive as far as examination, hemming and hawing and everything else. And I made the decision to not do it because he didn't seem too enthusiastic about it. Plus the fact that the other doctor had said he would do it, but he didn't think it would work. And later on, in a subsequent video, I will explain why that doctor was correct. So that's about it for the moment. I'm still floating around at that particular time. This is going to take me up into the early part of 2018 where I didn't strike gold, I struck the brown stuff. I guess you know what that means. So I'm going to discuss that in the next installment.